Shalom Yasharallah. Before we go into this lesson, we give all honor, all glory, and all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. We give double honors to the apostles and prophets and elders of James Camp, Bethlehem Great Millstone, for the bring forth the 100% truth that I have been currently edified under. Shalom to the elect, the tabernacle of David, and I am a brother Zaria coming through this lesson. Now, with understanding what I'm going to do here, the title of the lesson is Through Sex We Will Multiply in the Kingdom of Israel. Alright? And the reason why I do it is because many people still have a false belief that when you enter, and I used to be in Christianity, so we know the teachings. When you go into heaven, nobody will have genders. You're going to be genderless. You're only going to have a man and a female figure in a spiritual form. And it's all this nonsense those teaching. And we still have people trying to bring this false doctrine today. That makes no sense. Go back into your prophecies and your history. Go back into the understanding of the Bible tell you. Like I precept before you continue. And we always go back to the standard that you continue the scriptures. It says what? To the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So forgive me if I may be a little harsh today, because you'll fail to go according to the standard of the scriptures. But this is only for those who don't have, who rejected and rebelling against the truth. This harshness might be for you, and for those who are willing to learn, would hear what's being brought out and understand what's going on. Because when you go into the standard according to the scriptures, it was outlined a standard also by Solomon. Who was Solomon? Solomon was Yahweh Shai. And if those don't want to believe that, even after we've proven from time to time, Solomon was also the wisest man on the earth. So it is impossible for you to not believe what is being brought out here, regardless. Even if you don't believe he's Yahweh Shai, which we know for a fact, he was still the wisest man on the earth. So if you fail to believe this was being brought out here, you are utter fool. Your mind is full of nonsense, which is what I wanted to say before. Simple. Let's get a precept. This is the standard of the creation of a being coming into this world, of a male and a female having what we call sexual intercourse, right? Which is known as marriage for those who don't know. The consummation, which is known as marriage, all right? Where the man sows his seed into the woman and it enters her egg, the egg or whatever you call it, that goes further down into her womb and begins to bring forth life. This is being brought out here clear as day. And verse 6, I need to pay attention to. Let's read. I myself also am a mortal man, like to all the offspring of him that was first made of the earth. See that? And in my mother's womb I was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months. You see? Fashioned, made to be fleshed in the time of 10 months, being compact in blood. And for those who don't know, the scriptures is actually correct. A child is usually born within, a proper birth is within, I think it's 9 months and 3 weeks, which rounds off to 10 months. But let's keep going. Proper birth, eh? Let's keep going. Being compacted in blood of the seed of man. Of the seed of man. One more time. Of the seed of man. So even the immaculate conception nonsense which you like to believe doesn't exist. Because this scripture cuts that by 1.5 miles. Let's keep going. Because when you go lower down, you would understand where I'm coming from. Being born physically, you would have to have two beings, a male and a female of gender, one that sows seed and one that carries and develops the seed into what it's being brought today. Of course, in biology, the male X chromosome is what determines the gender, the female XY chromosome, what was able to carry that specific gender, as we understand. Let's keep going. When I was born, I drew in the common air and flesh and fell upon the earth, which is like of nature, and the first voice which I uttered was crying, as all others do. I was nursed in swaddling clothes, slack, and that with cares. For there is no king that had any other beginning of birth, which also includes Yahushua HaMashiach, which also includes David and the others. We know that. Listen to what it says here. Because Yahushua was also, now no, we're not straying, because we're doing this for a purpose. But it clears another purpose regardless. Verse 6 hits the mark. For all men, one more time, all men have one entrance into life, and the like going out, which was mentioned above. All right? And according to this is why our forefathers have procreated such a massive scale, which the example I've brought upon even in the life, which I said that even Jacob, when he was afraid of Esau coming to slay him, what did Yahweh promise him? To multiply his seed, that they may become a great multitude, according to law and according to testimony. And how would that happen? Through sex, through procreation with sex. And we have many examples, oh gosh, let me get the precept. No, I'm gonna say it, like David and many others who have multiple children by multiple women. Right? So it's the same concept that's going to happen. What did the Bible tell you? The words of Yahweh is spirit and they are life, everlasting. Life everlasting. The commandments of Yahweh is forever. And part in the Torah, it already told you how you're supposed to come together, and through sex, that seed is placed and birth comes to pass. Meaning physical creation of a child, a born baby, comes to pass. That's part of the law mentioned in scriptures. So for you to come and say now, because if we are to be upright, and the law is going to be placed in our inward parts, in our minds, that we are never to go off or go wrong, then you cannot come and say now there's no sex in the kingdom. Because in the kingdom, we would have all within ourselves to do what we're supposed to do according to the will of the Father. Which in part, sex to bring back or to bring about children. Because when they go into Isaiah 60, it was made clear. Let me go from verse. Let me get a precept. Isaiah 60 and verses 21. The point is at verse 22. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me just. Right, we're good. I don't want to cut it off by accident. All right. As it mentioned here, it says, "Thy people shall be all righteous." See, like I said, and they shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the works of my hands, that I may be glorified. Here it says, a little one shall become 1,000. How is a little one going to become 1,000? By multiplying. Going back into Genesis, what Genesis said, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth. How do we multiply? Through sex. So how will a little one become 1,000? If you go and transfigure and then create some clones or no. It's through the very said act that we did to multiply on the earth, to be a great multitude from the beginning, to be as the sand of the sea, which is sex. So through sex, we will multiply in the kingdom of Israel. That cannot be changed. That's not going to change, because the kingdom of Israel is going to be back on the earth. And see that the earth is a physical realm which holds physical beings, then the physical act according to the law is going to stand. And it's going to say, I, Yahweh, will hasten it in time past. See, which goes back on how do all men have one entrance into life? Through what? Sex. We got next precept in Jeremiah chapter 23 and verses 3. Here it says, and I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, which is Israel, and they shall be fruitful and increase. Be fruitful and increase. How does one be fruitful and increase or multiply? Through sex. And Israel, back then and now, has been very fruitful and has been multiplying a lot. So where's the change there as to where we no longer going to have sex in the kingdom of Israel? That makes no sense. And if anyone that is Jakes that believe in that bullshit, better stop read one time. Join hands with them and leave this out of your hands. Trust me, because it makes no sense. I'm going to next precept, Isaiah chapter 49, verse 21. You know what's going on. Anyways, why do you think it happening? Let me see. Oh, okay. When I press it, I thought when you press X, it will cancel the the recording. I'm afraid to press it sometimes because you see what happened in the last when it cut off immediately just so. So just to be on the safe side, let me go into it. Right? That's all. That's feed. No, not there's a precept before I wanted to get. It was concerning gosh, bear with me. It was in my head right just now. Why this? I shall never select. No pause. I'll get back. Right. Let me go into this one. I think the precept I was looking for is in Isaiah 26, I believe, but I couldn't find it. 26, somewhere in 26. But let's just stick with this one for the time, because this makes sense as well. Because this goes into what's going to happen after, how we are going to be treated with such royalty and such, with that's the status of being an Israelite, being the chosen people, that they have to deal with us in a proper manner. And when it goes into it says what? Verse 21, it says, then shalt thou say in thine heart, who hath begotten me these, seeing I have lost my children, and am desolate, a captive, and removing to and fro, and who had brought up these? Behold, I was left alone. Where had they been? Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles, and set up my standard to the people, and they shall bring thy sons and their arms in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders. Right? It says, the kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. Why is it going to have nursing fathers and nursing mothers? For who? For who? Our children, our offspring. This is not going to happen now. It's going to happen in the kingdom, when we are ruling, when the Israelites on top. It makes it more clear. Going to your prophet, it makes it more clear. Let's keep going. And they shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, because what? As it says, as I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are the children of the Most High. So ye are gods. What is God's what is God's to do to be worshipped? So they're going to bow to us because we are now the prime rulers of the earth, which we once were and we are supposed to be. Going to Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verses 6. Or even Deuteronomy 14. Let me get a quick one. Deuteronomy 14 and verses 2, I believe. It says, "For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power, and Yahweh has chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth." See that? Are all the nations upon the earth. Going back into Isaiah chapter 49, I believe. And verses 23 we went into. Yeah. Right, towards the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. See that? That wait for me. Verse 24. Shall the prey be taken from the mighty, or the lawful captive delivered? The lawful captives delivered? But thus saith Yahweh, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered, for I will contend with him that contendeth with thee, and I will save thy children. So, with that being said, this is supposed to be more prominent to you now. That no foolishness which is being mentioned, that we do have no gender, no sex, and none of that. Stop with that foolishness. If you don't understand the scriptures, stop reading it. Because if you're getting the understanding and you're still scoffing and mocking and still choosing to believe what you want to believe, it makes no sense. So don't waste your time. It's not for everyone. Alright? So the precept, I'm going to look for it again. I think it's Isaiah 26. It's either 6 or 16. I'll look for it. I couldn't find it. So let me just get this. So when you go to Psalms chapter 20, this is what scripture tells you. In verses 3, it says what? It says, "Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the side of thine house, thy children like olive plants round about thy table." And we know olive, this bear a multiple branch, a huge amount. So when it says, "Thy children like olive plants round about thy table," it's a lot we're going to have in the kingdom. That what scripture tells you, a little one shall become 1,000. How are they going to become 1,000? Through what? Through our seed bringing back the 2/3 into the kingdom. This is why it's going to become this is why it's going to be a multiple. This is why it is important to understand, even from then till now, that back then, even unto today, but back then, the men used to have multiple wives for that purpose, and we have given many examples before. Scripture tells you, "The Father hadn't commanded any man to do wickedly, neither had he given any man license to sin." So to give David these wives, Solomon these wives, and many others these wives, right, is not a sin. It's in your laws, to be exact. But let's keep going. I want to see if I find it. You know what? Hold on. Let me get the book. Pause. I'll get the book. Okay. I find it. Isaiah 27:6. I should just say what? "He shall cause them that come to Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit." What is the fruit of Israel? Starting in proper understanding, is the children. Be fruitful and multiply. I said offspring, your children. That's what it goes back into. So I hope this information would have been clear enough, because being in a righteous state cannot be now. Bible says our righteousness is as filthy rags, or if we're paraphrasing. So there's no way right now we could be righteous to bring forth seed on the earth to be and be in that state of righteousness. This is only referring to the covenant and being in the kingdom, which again, through sex, will multiply in the kingdom of Israel. That's not going to change. I'm gonna precept Psalm chapter 127. On verse 5, straight to the point, as it says, happy is a man that had his quiver full of them, that they shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. All right? So, with that being said, I think by now we understand. Let me get one more precept. It goes into say, this is the lovely precept here brought out. Telling you this here, yeah. This one was made so clear. It says, well, the righteous shall flourish like a palm tree. Oh, again, doesn't palm trees, when you look at a palm tree, the fruits of the palm, isn't it a huge amount, many, on one crop, on a small branch, the small whitish branch is poke out. There's a lot on one, and there's another. It's all over the trees at this branch. It's a huge amount. So when it tells you the righteous shall flourish like the palm tree, he shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of Yahweh shall flourish in the courts of our power. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing, to show that Yahweh is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. So the righteous, going back into what I said, in the kingdom is going to bring forth seed. How are they going to bring forth seed if by law one goes into another, or must go into another to reproduce? How else are they going to do when the scripture tells you all men? Let me get that precept back again in Wisdom of Solomon. Let me jump back on that one more time, or you'll close out. Scripture tells you clear, for all men have one entrance into life, and the like going out. Where is any, how could you not say that this is going to happen in the kingdom, when all men have one entrance into life? The only how we are going to flourish in the kingdom, being in a righteous state, and to be fruitful, and to have one little one become 1,000, is to do what? Bring forth seed, which is through sex. So I hope this information was clear and edifying. We say Shalom Yasharala, Kal Halalyam Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rekakodash. We give double honors to the apostles and prophets and elders of James Camp, better known as Great Millstone, for the before the 100% truth that have been currently edified under. Shalom to the elect, the tabernacle of David, and Aaron Tazariah saying to you, Shalom.